Dylan, when was the last time? Oh, you got a new mic, Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, I got to know everything to.
Honestly, okay, the one silver lining is that mic's definitely better.
Yeah, no, it is nice.
Hey, and we got that recorded. Let's go. We're back, episode 39. Quick return from us. Many expected not to see it. It hasn't been like 5 months. It's been like a week since the last episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a new era of the back pocket. We're gonna post like every day for like 2 weeks and then just go radio silent. Voices are, I think the silver lining of it all is we sound like we're 20. Like people can like actually go at us now.
Yeah, no, they don't have to like pretend we're. I mean, we were kids to be
No,
fair.
no,
But
yeah.
they don't have to like
That's not an
hold
excuse we can
back.
hide behind
They don't have to
anymore.
hold back
Yeah.
anymore. Like
We have no excuses anymore.
we have to know ball.
We have to know, yeah.
Especially because we're talking about soccer. I said it, and we're American.
Yeah.
So like any internet hate is going to come.
Is
So we have to know what we're talking about, which we
Yeah.
do.
Well, hop right into it. Obviously, episode last week was similar in the Premier League. We kind of got into the race for the Premier League as we kind of or we're starting to reach the midpoint. Or are we at the midpoint? I think I asked this last time. We're at the mid. Are we past it or we're not there yet? In the midpoint of the Prem season.
We're just about there.
We are
We're
we
just
are
about
almost
there,
at the
right?
midpoint.
Yeah, right. Like Boxing Day is midpoint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
Okay.
about, yeah.
But yeah, obviously, someone will talk about Aston Villa. I think something an important thing when you kind of look at this top four race. I think to me and I'm sure to all fans, the Aston Villa rise has been exponential and it has been incredible for them. Obviously, sitting in third place. I believe I was looking yesterday. Arsenal 72% chance to win the league, City 20, and Villa 6%. Someone check my math. That should be right, Charlie. That is right.
Not even close, but it's
Is
all
it
right.
not? That's what I heard.
there's
Oh
been
no, because there's
2%.
other teams. Yeah, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so obviously Aston Villa. I mean, I guess my question to you guys would be when you look at the race right now, are Villa really there? Like that's the question. And I do want to talk about Arsenal, especially after that Wolves game. I know they won, but I do want to get into that. But I mean, Villa right now, they look unstoppable. They look like a very good team, fluid, scoring goals. Is there a chance for them there to either? I mean, I guess do they fall off? Is there a chance for them to win the league? Obviously, I feel like I know your guys' answer, but
I mean, unfortunately for them, I don't think that there's a chance for them to win the league. There's too many teams that are just better roster wise than they are. They don't have a star in the same way an Arsenal or a Man City do. And that's not to say they don't have very good players. I think the buildup of this team is the reason they've been one of the best teams in the Premier League for the past 4 seasons now. But no, they're not going to compete with the Cities and the Arsenals. But again, valiant efforts through the start of the season, playing in multiple competitions. They're in Europe again. This is a very good team that should not be taken as a joke in the Champions League race or the Europa League race. But no, they're not going to win the league.
I'm gonna go out and disagree with you here. Not that I think they're gonna win the league, but I actually do think they have stars in this roster in the same way that Arsenal
Not
and
in the
Chelsea
same
and
way
City do.
as no
Because I think that Morgan Rogers is the second best 10 in the
no.
league.
Hold your horses. Hold your horses. Morgan Rogers is a very, very good player, and he was one of the players that I was referring to when I said they have good players. They don't have an Erling Haaland. They don't have a Bukayo Saka.
But Morgan Rogers
They
is
don't
second in the league at his position behind
also
only
Dylan,
Cole Palmer.
I think when you go from Holland to Saka is
Oh, okay.
I don't think Saka's
You know what I'm
overrated,
going for, though. You know what I'm
But
going
there
for,
is
though.
no, but there. Okay, look, there's no competition to Holland in the league, correct? And Morgan
Yeah, I agree.
Rogers maybe isn't on the level of Bukayo Saka, but he is really close.
I don't know. I'd say
Because
right now.
I don't
is-
agree. No,
he
no,
is
you guys are being
incredible.
ridiculous. You
And
guys
then
are
you've got a player in Yuri Tielemans who has been
lovely,
phenomenal this
lovely
season.
player.
And
Amadou
then you
Onana as
complete
well.
the midfield with Boubacar Kamara and Amadou Onana.
No, it's a good team. It's a good team.
Boubacar
But
Kamara, who's been potentially
No,
a top 3 defensive
yeah.
midfielder
No,
this year.
Dylan,
Same with Onana. Tielemans, every time he plays, the team looks different than when he doesn't. This is a team full of stars. The thing that I think they don't have is defensive stability down the stretch because they are starting Lindelof in games, and Luka Dean and Matty Cash aren't the most secure defensively. And Emi Martinez has taken a step back this season. So I think the defensively is the reason they won't finish in the top 3 probably. But offensively, when you've got guys like Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins and Emiliano Buendia, who's having a good season, and Tielemans behind them, I think that the sky's the limit for the attack.
But I mean, you're referring to Morgan Rogers as their star, which he is their best player this season. Maybe Tillman's, but he's been their best attacking player this season. I still, I don't think I can classify him in the same world that we classify players. Like I said, Erling Haaland. I said Bukayo Saka. I'll stick with Bukayo Saka. Even the Mo Salah is not having a good year, but Mo Salah is on a different plane to a guy like Morgan
Statistically,
Rogers.
he's having a better year than Saka.
But Saka's been hurt for a really big portion of this season. Not to mention the value that Saka provides, just as a player on the outside performing in this system that's so set piece based that he's the infiltrator in a way that Odegaard used to be. I think Bukayo Saka is being very undervalued as a reason that this Arsenal team isn't scoring goals right now because he's injured.
Yeah. I mean, look, I see both sides. Like, I definitely agree that if you look at this Villa side and then you look at the City and the Arsenal team, I mean, Arsenal, we talked about it last episode. The depth they have is unlike I've ever seen, I think, in my life. Like, the depth they have is unreal. Obviously, City, just talent wise, Holland is far and away right now the best striker in the league. I think Isak last year was close with him, but obviously this year not. Um, and yeah, I think you look at Villa, and I think Morgan Rogers has been fantastic, and I think another talking point is where he fits in with this England team right now, because I think that's an extremely
Yeah,
polarizing topic that's been going around. But also, I think you look at the cohesion of that team. Like, look, yes, obviously fantastic players, and I agree they don't have that maybe number one star, but the way that they're playing together has been fantastic. Where I think if you look at a team like City and Arsenal, I think that star power disbands them at moments where I think Villa are much more coherent and together. But yeah, I agree. I think look, the Saka thing is a different thing, and I think he's fantastic. I think he's one of the best players in the league, but I do think there are moments where people overhype him. But and again, I don't like playing into that Saka is overrated and blah blah. I think it's a just people trying to get clicks. But I mean, you look at Morgan Rogers this season to be playing like you are and getting shouts to be in the England squad. And I will say this: some people are saying he should start over Bellingham. That's a
I
conversation that's
mean
going on.
that is being said by people, but
But
I
it's
will
a
not.
it's a
But
pretty common conversation. I mean, I and that's something, it's yeah, I think it's a topic. Look, do I think that should happen? No, but if that's a conversation that's happening, I think there is some legitimacy behind it. Do I think you should start over him? No, but Morgan Rogers has been unbelievable for Aston Villa this year, and I think it's a because when you look at England, they've never been able to get over that hump, right? So if there obviously is some type of problem that occurs in that squad, and I think Rogers is making a very very convincing argument as to why he should be a key player in their
well,
World Cup squad.
he's gonna make the team, and
Yeah, obviously,
he's
yeah.
gonna deserve the playing time he gets. This is an England team, off topic, but they have a really good group of players that have been together for a decent amount of time. You look at the Euros that they just came in second in, the World Cup they made the quarterfinals in, the World Cup before they made the semifinals in. This is the same group of players. Bellingham, Foden, Saka, Kane, etc. All these guys are world beaters. But they haven't been able to figure it out. And people have been saying that it's because they don't have a transition piece. Now, I don't think Morgan Rogers is necessarily that transition piece to take England to the top. That's more of a Marcus Rashford type of player. Not saying Marcus Rashford will do it, but like a Rashford or an Anthony Gordon, someone in that realm that they need a transition piece. But they do need to change some things. Like you look at the England team that made the finals of the Euros, they were stagnant. They were not good through the group stages. They barely scraped by Slovakia, courtesy of a Jude Bellingham bicycle kick. Jude Bellingham's the second best player on the team. I don't want to hear people saying he doesn't deserve to start. That's a ridiculous argument based in the fact that most people just don't watch La Liga. But it's a team that, although they have their periods of stagnation that they need a jolt of energy, is still one of the premier teams in the world. So you have a guy like Morgan Rogers that you can go to off the bench. I think that suits them better. And you have so many pieces just outside of the realm of who you know, the Fodens, the Cole Palmers. You can go to this incredibly deep bench to compete.
Ooh, I think you're muted, Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie, you are muted.
Right.
Finally, for the first time in 4+ years, England have a competent manager. And more than that, they've got Thomas Tuchel at the helm, who will look past what, Gareth Southgate did, which is not change ever. It didn't seem like, we would have gone into this World Cup and the front line for England would have been exactly the same. And that's not to say that it shouldn't be the same, but it would have looked exactly the same for every game, no matter performances. You saw Cole Palmer have an incredible impact off the bench in the knockout stages at the Euros. You're seeing guys like Morgan Rogers and Anthony Gordon be super successful in the Prem. There was no space for them in Gareth Southgate's team. Now with Tuchel at the helm, there may be. But moving along, part of this Aston Villa conversation has got to be Unai Emery. Where does he rank among coaches in the world? Um, and I think that's a really interesting conversation because this isn't so much about Unai Emery here because I do think he is a top 5 coach in the world right now. I think we're in a
Top
bit of a
five?
absolutely, I do.
Top.
Who's
I don't hate
who's
it.
your
I
who's your
don't hate it.
five?
I
Who's
don't
your
hate it.
five?
Oh, I'm not sure that I could actually map out a 5 for you, but you've got Pep Guardiola in there. Right now, what Cesc Fabregas is doing at
No,
Como is
don't do
brilliant.
that.
Not sure he would be top
Don't do
five.
that.
Not sure he would be top five. Um, Goodness, Spalletti's been back at Juve and he's been really good. Xabi Alonso with Madrid has been there. You've got Luis
Uh,
Enrique
all
still.
right,
You've got,
let's kick this
but
motion. Let's
but
actually
but
talk
what
about
I'm
who the best coaches are.
but what I'm
Not the
thinking
10th best
here.
coaches. Let's talk about
Hold
who the
on,
best coaches are.
hold on.
Okay.
But the
Pep
difference.
Guardiola. Pep
Hold on,
Guardiola is a better manager than Unai Emery, right? We can agree
Okay,
hold
on that.
on. You
well,
didn't even let me say what I was going to
All
say.
right, go. So, apologies. I'm hearing you name a lot of
But
coaches that
what's
just don't
going on
belong
right
there.
now, and the reason you can't name the best 5 or the best 10 maybe is because we're in a really big transition spot for coaches right now, I think. Uh, if you asked me who the best coaches in the world were 3 or 4 years ago, the names at the top of the list would be Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Ancelotti, Inzaghi, Mourinho, Tuchel, Pochettino, Pioli, Zidane. What do these guys all have in common? None of them are coaching in the top 5 leagues anymore, with the exception of Pep Guardiola. So from 3 years ago to now, all of a sudden there's a huge shift in coaches, and there are a ton of newer coaches like your Cesc Fabregases and Xabi Alonso's and Arne Slots who are brand new in the top 5 leagues and are making waves with their teams. So can you name a top 5 or a top 10 based on accomplishments? Not really.
I mean, you
well,
can.
Dylan, let's hear because
Okay.
that is a good point, Charlie. That is, but let's hear your five.
Okay. Five that I have at the bare minimum that are better than Unai Emery. Pep Guardiola is a better coach than Unai Emery. He's still the head honcho, best in the world. Luis Enrique just won the Champions League with PSG.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
he
yeah.
is a better coach than Unai Emery. Mikel Arteta has finished third place, second place through the past 4 seasons at
Why not
Arsenal
first place?
because
Yeah,
you're going
I
against some
think
really good
I
teams.
think that
But
is the worst possible argument.
Mikel Arteta
Like,
has changed the culture around at Arsenal
yes.
into a very competitive
Do
team.
I
I
think
think
our yeah.
he has manufactured, some would say inauthentically, but nonetheless he has manufactured a very good Arsenal team
I
that has
just
been
think,
competitive for years. I
but
think he is a
I
better
just think
coach.
it's the most hollow argument because they have won nothing.
Okay,
I
but
see.
what has Unai Emery won though for
No,
Villa?
but I'm
Okay,
not
but the
saying that.
difference is that Arteta's coaching a trophy hunting team in Arsenal, and Emery is coaching a mid-table team in Aston Villa.
Okay,
No,
sure,
no,
but
but well, I'm not. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. I'm
And
not
and they've
arguing.
won more than Arsenal in that span.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Emery is better. I do think Arteta's a great manager, but I just think the constant argument or the way to back Arteta by saying that they have competed and placed second or third is a terrible,
well,
terrible
okay,
way to
okay,
back a coach.
that's fair.
Because,
That's fair.
look, and again, I think if you look at do I think Arne Slot's a better manager than Arteta? Now, no, but last season, 100%. I think Slot was I think the ability to come into a league and win a trophy is immediately puts you a pedestal ahead. And I think there's a legitimate argument for saying Slot's a better manager than Arteta. I think there is because he came in and did it. And look, did he inherit a good team? And yeah, but I do think that there is a genuine argument about Arteta if there isn't some type of success this season. Like, it's some coach will be able to come in and like this Arsenal team is fantastic. So if not this year, when?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you're gonna talk big about what Arteta has done, it has to be more on the team building side of it
Yeah.
because he's built a phenomenal squad and the way they play is brilliant, but they have fallen apart down the stretch multiple times over the last 5 years. So yes, Mikel Arteta is a top five manager in the world right now, but no, it's not because Arsenal are competitive. It's because he's built a team
Okay, yeah.
that
No,
is the best in the world.
no, that's fair. That's very fair. And I also think that the play style is
The play style is great.
it's so mechanical to the level that you know how influential the coach is. That's really more
But
where I
also,
was going.
I think if you put a number of those top five you just said ahead of him, Dylan, I think they would have two Premier League titles by now. I think there is a
I don't
if
know.
you
I
put
don't know.
Pep Guardiola, I think
I,
at Arsenal, and again, look, I know that's the if and or but
I think
type
that's hard. I
argument.
think that's hard to argue though, just because Arteta's been so like unique as a coach. I don't think that you could have this Arsenal team without Arteta because of how different
He
he's been
built the squad.
in approach. He built the squad exactly how he wanted to. He brought
Yeah,
in
but
the guy.
Klopp, Bill, Liverpool
Yeah,
slot him in for a
I
season and
mean
won.
the team was better. The Liverpool team last season was better than what
So
I
we
think
have
the
you look at
right
the
now.
only
Liverpool
the
team
only
last season and the
flaw
Arsenal team
the
this season. I think Arsenal are much deeper. I think they're very,
But
very close.
but like we were saying, and I was arguing for Bukayo Saka as a top creator in the world, and I still think that. But Mohamed Salah last season was a different demon.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
I
no
mean,
Mohamed Salah in
So,
this Arsenal team.
well, I think that the one flaw or fault that you can find in Arteta is that he hasn't won that big trophy yet, right? So I think if you're picking a manager, say Manchester United's in the hunt for a new manager and they can decide between Arteta and Emery, it I think it is it's a tough decision because you know that Arteta's going to come in with an idea in mind and with
but
a
yeah,
tactics and a squad in mind, but I might back Emery to win sooner than I'd back Arteta to win
I think
because
that's a good
Emery in the
argument.
last few
Yeah,
years with Villa has won a European trophy while Arteta has won an FA Cup.
which was like 5 years ago or something, or like 4 years ago. I mean,
So I
Aubameyang was
think
still
that at
on
the end of the day,
Arsenal.
not that Arsenal don't have a winning mentality under Arteta, they just haven't won yet.
And
No, that's fair.
I think
That's
there's
reasonable.
a very real world where once they win a Prem or Champions League, the floodgates open, and then it's like they just start racking up trophies. But I think you look at the time it's taken
It's year seven
Arteta
of Arteta.
to roll out this
Or
team
eight of Arteta.
and to only have one trophy, I think is a serious concern. And I want to kind of shift into another the next topic we're going to discuss, and that's obviously about Arsenal this season. Um,
I mean, can
and
I just say the other two coaches I have
yeah,
first?
sorry,
Because
Yeah,
sorry, yeah.
please
So,
Antonio
finish your
Conte
other
is a better
two.
coach than Unai Emery. He just
He's
won
not.
the league with Napoli last year with McTominay as his best player. I think
I think
okay.
right. I
Don't
think
throw shade
I'm
at
not throwing
McTominay
shade
because
at
he was
McTominay,
I
fantastic.
think right
but
But that's
now
another
though.
one that's
I think
close.
Antonio Conte is I mean, everywhere he's gone, he's won, and he just keeps on doing it no matter what. He didn't have a good team at Napoli last year. That was a
Okay.
fourth place team in a normal Serie A season, and they won. And then
All right.
I'm also taking Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick has done
Yeah, yeah.
miracles at Barcelona with one of the youngest groups of players and going out there and winning La Liga last year against Mbappe and Real Madrid, and then developing Lamine Yamal the way that they have, the
This
transition attack with
Hold on.
Rafinha. I think Hansi
It's
Flick,
absolutely he's done a great job, but Pedri was already established and
but
Frankie de
not even
Jong was
close to
already
as
established. Okay,
none
but
of
these are
those
guys
guys.
who were
All of those guys have gotten
already elite
considerably better
players.
with Hansi Flick at
These
the
were
helm.
already elite players,
This Barca
and
team hadn't done a thing for 4 years before Hansi Flick came in,
but
and now
but
they're back to where they
I
were.
also look at the big games, and they've had a tendency to not win as many of the big games as you would hope for.
Yeah,
Um,
Inter last year.
they lost in the Club World Cup to PSG by a lot.
Big games.
Okay.
I've
No,
They
never
no,
seen that happen in our
they
hundreds of
they
episodes.
they
I've
have they
never.
have not they lost to Inter Milan in the Champions League last year.
yep.
They lost to Chelsea as an example at the start of the year this year in the Champions League. I think the big games is where they've struggled. And that's a tactical thing, and that's where I think Flick has struggled a ton. So
I
I
mean,
would take Unai Emery 100%.
I don't agree with you just because, I mean, first of all, Barcelona's a better team than Aston Villa. I'll have to get that out of the way before I go to where I'm going. But the improvements made on the individual player level since Hansi Flick has taken the helm at Barcelona just cannot be unnoticed. This is a team that going into their last season with Hansi Flick had not done a thing in the post Messi era. Lamine Jamal became one of the best players in the world under Hansi Flick. Was he going to be there regardless? Probably,
We
but
don't know.
it did happen. Rafinha went from average winger in the Premier League, above average winger in the Premier League, went to Barcelona, didn't really do all that much, becomes one of the best players in the world. Pedri, as good as he had been, and this is going to sound like one of my ridiculous arguments that I've made over the years that you wouldn't think correlates, but it does. Hansi Flick is known for drilling his players into shape. You saw what Leon Goretzka looked like pre-Bayern, post-Bayern, Joshua Kimmich, same thing. Pedri, for the first time in his career, or second time in his career maybe, did not get injured last season. Pedri was healthy because Hansi Flick and that training regimen that they
So
did.
should Enzo Maresca be in this conversation because Reece James hasn't been hurt this season?
I mean, I'm not putting Enzo Maresca in this conversation because they're not. He's not as good of a coach as Hansi Flick. But like,
But I'm just like it's because of his
Devil's
training regimen.
advocate.
I mean that's a reason that I think Pedri has gotten better.
I
Pedri's always had that ability, but him not getting hurt, I think, does directly correlate to Hansi Flick being
yeah.
in there. And then another coach that I'll bring up that I wouldn't say that he's a better coach than Unai Emery, but it brings up an interesting question of are you a good coach if you can't if you can manage a specific type of player and not another? Because we saw what happened when Vincent Company coached at Burnley and got relegated, and then he goes to Bayern and
Oh
now he's
yeah.
coaching the best
It's
team in the
yeah.
world. I don't know how you
Best team in the world.
evaluate him because you saw what he did with bad players in a bad league, which was not enough. But then he goes to the best team in the world, and they look like the best team in the world. So I don't know how to evaluate him.
But we
Where
can argue that at the very, very least, Unai Emery is in this conversation
Yes,
with every
yes,
single one of these managers. And so
yes,
you named six managers, I believe, that you think are better than him. So we can, I mean, I'm totally okay to settle that Unai Emery is a top seven manager in the world.
yes.
where does Sunderland's manager fit in this conversation?
I
What's
need
his
more
name?
time. Libri. I need more time.
Libria, yeah.
I just I can't crown someone that highly. I mean, I did it with Arne Slot last year, and we're seeing how that looks now. It's just like
Hey.
I need the season, especially since Sunderland actually are bottom in the league in XG. There's a lot of just like underlying factors to this team that I don't know that they're going to be able to continue at this
It's a
pace.
squad
And
that's overperforming. They've done a
yeah,
great job, but they are
which is a
overperforming.
And also
testament
now with
which is a
AFCON,
testament
they
to a
have
good
like
coach.
4 or 5 players gone. So this
Yeah,
will,
that
I
that
think this next period will really test to see his coaching. But um, great stuff. That was good. I want to pivot to yeah, I want to pivot and I tried to when we were talking about Arteta, but I will just put this out there as kind of a way to start this. But I think this is my take, and after watching several Arsenal games, I don't think they have the legs, and I don't think that they will win the Premier League. And I think, Dylan, it's something you brought up is the output that they have, and we talked about Gyökeres last time. Here's what I'll say, and this is kind of how I'll preface it. I don't think Gyökeres will be at Arsenal in 2 years. I don't think Gabriel Jesus is really a striker. I think Jesus would be fit much more in maybe a two-striker system or someone who sits behind. I don't think Havertz is a clinical 20 goals a season striker. And then I guess Mikel Merino, honestly, might be their best striker right now. So I don't know. My Arsenal conversation is I just think that we saw throughout the season, I guess, kind of barring or the beginning of the season, barring that Liverpool game when Liverpool won, a team that looked bulletproof, that looked different from the Arsenal team that made mistakes, that lost games. I think, especially with the injuries that they're starting to pick up, I think that they will start to slip. And I don't think Arsenal have the output to win this league.
Where I'm going to disagree with you, and this isn't a whether or not they end up winning the league or not. I honestly think it's a toss-up right now. They do have the lion's share of the votes for me, and I think that if I had to pick right now, I would pick Arsenal. But I actually think that they have had a goal-scoring output that you can't really ignore. They do not have an Erling Haaland up front. They don't have an Igor Thiago or even a Voltemada or you know
Ekitike.
Ekitike, sure. Even in Ekitike, they do not have. Um, but they are still tied for the second highest scoring team in the Prem. They're the fourth highest scoring team in the Champions League, and they've got eight different players with two or more goals this season in the Prem, which is the most in the Prem. So they are still finding ways to score a ton of goals. When you've got guys like Trossard, Havertz, Gyökeres, Marino, Saka, Martinelli, Eze, Odegaard, who can all go score goals, plus defenders who are known for their goal scoring ability in Calafiori, Timber this season, Gabriel. Um, they're gonna get the goals. The game against Wolves, we can chalk it up to a fluke. We know how bad Wolves is. We'll get into that in a little bit. Yes, Wolves scored all three goals in the game. Yes, Arsenal won. Um, I don't think this is a big problem. Interestingly, about Mikel Merino, I saw this stat recently and I just looked it up to make sure it's true. Mikel Merino has scored the highest percentage of goals of any player, of any non-defender in the Premier League with his head. Mikel Merino, of his 11 Premier League goals, 8 have been with his head, which is the highest percentage of any player in
Yeah, that's
Premier League
actually that's
history that's not a
crazy.
defender. Uh, he's their best striker up 100%. Gyökeres is not good. He had all the tools and now comes to the Premier League and looks like a 14-year-old against Premier League center backs. He's
I
not
don't
good
want
enough.
to have
No,
that. I don't
absolutely.
know.
He is not good enough on the ball. He is not good enough aerially. He is not good enough like without the ball. He's not
Yeah,
good enough
that's
at anything
He has
to
not
play in the Premier
succeeded
League.
yet. He has not succeeded yet, and
And that's
he
because
has
he
played
is
poorly.
lacking in so many
He is
areas that
technically a lackluster player to a level that I did not expect him to be. However, I think his speed and I think his hold-up play will translate in due time if they give him the time to play. Now, that's not to say that they
but
should,
Marino is a
because they
better
need.
hold-up
Yes,
player
no,
and
he's not a
and
better
he's
hold-up player.
better aerially. He is
He's a better he's
100%
not a
better with
better
the
hold.
ball.
He's not a better hold. Better with the ball, yes, but he's not a better hold-up player. Gyökeres is too big to be
Okay, but in
really that.
fairness, Arsenal don't exactly use their striker as a
Yes,
hold-up player.
yes,
So
yes.
that can be part of it, but Gyökeres, where people thought he would succeed, is his physical presence. He's big and he's quick, and yet he is smaller than all the Prem center backs, and he is slower than all of them. So he's not succeeding, and he will not succeed at Arsenal.
I don't know if I fully agree with that because I still think if today you ask me who the starting striker that's going to take Arsenal to win the Premier League title is, I would say it's Victor Gyökeres.
And
I
I'd be
think
more likely to tell you that Trossard or Marino would do a better job.
and that's not a ridiculous thing to say given it hasn't happened yet. I just think Gyökeres' intangibles, his speed, his strength that have not shown themselves because Arsenal are so rigid in the way they play will show themselves in due time. People are going to start to figure out that how Arsenal play is not sustainable. And I agree. It is not sustainable to win games relying on set pieces and relying on the creativity of one or two players. It's just
But
not
I
possible
think
to
that
win a league like that.
I
But
think that's somewhere that he should shine. So yeah, his physicality hasn't come out yet, but that's something that should never go away. You look at other players who have come to the Premier League, and not to say that this is a
you're
guy who,
misunderstanding what I'm trying to say though. You're saying that I have the problem with Gyökeres is that he hasn't been physical to this point because the team is rigid, which is what I'm saying is Gyökeres has not succeeded yet because he's not put in a spot to succeed as the striker of a team that does not rely on their striker for anything other than headed goals and hold up
but
play.
City did not rely on their striker, and then they got Holland, and now he's the best player in the world.
Holland
So,
is the best player, second best player in the world, but
but that's not to say that Gyökeres is as good as Holland. He's not even close. But Arsenal fans and many people around the world were thinking that he would have a similar trajectory of impact to
yeah.
what Holland was able to do. And what I thought I heard you say, I could be wrong, is that where he shines, he hasn't shined yet.
yes,
But I
And
think
whether that's because of the system or because he hasn't been playing well, I think that the attributes in which he shines in, he should have been able to shine in at this
okay,
level.
no,
And he has not.
and
that's fair.
I think the biggest, and again, I don't mean to keep going back to Liverpool, but I think you look at the lineup they ran with last season, most common was they didn't have a striker as Luis Diaz. So Liverpool, a team that does not really rely on their strikers. And I think you look at what Ekitike has done this season, obviously a different profile than Gyökeres, but he has imposed his style of gameplay that he did at Frankfurt, especially in these past recent weeks at Liverpool. And he scored and he just hit double-digit goals. And he's immediately made an impact. And I think that's what it is in the Premier League. And am I saying that players, they either come to the Premier League and immediately make an impact or they're not good? No. But I think exactly what Charlie said. You look at Gyökeres' goals, you look at what they brought him in for. Arsenal have never had an imposing classic number nine finisher, knows where to be, um, just bruiser, strong. You look at the games that he's played, I haven't seen his pace be utilized for a positive once. his strength and I think his hold up play has been all right. And again, obviously Arsenal are much more of a fluid and attacking team through their width, but there is a problem with how much more I think effective they are when Marino is there or when Trossard is there or even Gabriel Jesus, who immediately came in and made an impact off injury. So I think there is a definite concern for Arsenal. And Dylan, I could not agree more with the sustainability. I think that they're not a good team when they're behind, and I think that it's an issue for them because I think they create obviously they're scoring, but I think they create much less than people might think. And I think it's an issue, and I think it's a problem they will have. Whereas I think City have unlimited options, and that's a team I think will win the league. That's I think just City have so much more creativity, especially you look at the season they had last year, but now with Foden hitting, Cherky looks fantastic. Holland obviously kind of back to his heights. I think when it comes down to brass tacks, they just will create more and they will score more, and I think they will catch Arsenal.
But I
Yeah.
think that then you don't factor in the sustainable part of Arsenal's game, and that's how incredibly strong their defense is.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
is the best defense we've seen in the Premier League probably since that 2005 Chelsea backline that conceded the least goals in a Premier League season ever. This team has conceded less than half of the next best team's expected goals against this season. They've conceded less than 10 expected goals against. So, of course, it's sustainable, and they could go out and win every game for the rest of the season 1-0, and I wouldn't be surprised because that's how strong their defense is. So, yes, they don't have a top goal scorer right now, and no, they don't create as much as City do, or even United this season, or Chelsea, or even Liverpool potentially. Um, but their defense is double as good. It's two times better than anybody else's right now. And that starts with Raya in goal. Gabriel and Saliba is the best center back duo in the league. And Timber and Calafiori and Ben White, who came back from injury and looked great. These are all guys who can contribute to that defense meaningfully. And then to bring it back to a point you raised earlier, Keen, about Bukayo Saka, um, I think that's a player that cannot be measured and judged by his output,
No, I agree.
by
I
his
agree with
goals
that.
and assists, because I think that, you know, when you look at Salah, who is someone who, hats off to him, is one of the greatest Premier League players of, in history because of the amount of goals and assists he managed to accrue over his time on the wing for Liverpool. Um, Saka's not that player, and when I watch him play, he has more of an Eden Hazard type impact on a game. And that's an impact that sometimes goes noticed when he shows up on the score sheet, but sometimes it goes unnoticed. He creates 4, 5, 6 chances per game, but they just don't turn him in. So I think Saka, yes, is one of the best creators in the Premier League, maybe the best creator in the Premier League. And that's, they have multiple guys that can create up front, and I think they will score enough goals to um, compensate for the fact that they don't have Holland up front.
I agree with that, but I just think that it presents an unfair double standard because Saka should look, yes, Gyökeres was brought in. I think more of the pressure has been taken off Saka, put towards Gyökeres. But I think it's an unfair double standard that Arsenal fans tend to talk about when you look at, oh yeah, Saka, great off the ball, blah blah blah. But then you look Florian Wirtz, worst signing of the season, whereas I
Okay,
think he creates and does just as much as Saka does, if not more.
all right, hold on though, because of course Arsenal fans will set a double standard for their own players.
But
Liverpool
yeah,
fans
but
will do it too. United fans will do, everybody will tell you that their player is better than the other team's player. But no, Florian Wirtz has not created as much as Saka this season, not even close. And Saka's been injured. And I think from a pure numbers standpoint, Saka has still been better than Wirtz.
Verts has
So
created the most chances in the Premier League.
Yeah, but
That's a
when you look at
statistic
the
fact.
when
these
you
are
when you look at the statistic of chance creation, it is on FootMob. I don't know if that's where you're looking, but it's where it is for most places. It is a pass leading to a shot. That could be a great pass that's an incisive pass as a through ball that leads to a shot from inside the box, or a pass from half field that leads to a half field shot. It could be
also
literally anything. So
also
Because
on
the
FOTMob. To
commonality
be
of
clear,
half
on
field
FOTMob,
shots
Florian
are
Wirtz is not even in
yeah,
the
but
top 10.
you know what I'm trying to say though. As a when a chance creation is not necessarily a trustworthy stat to
But
prove
then,
how
but then, why
active.
is it trustworthy to say Saka does it? I think there has to
Because I'm
be
watching the
some.
games. Because
It's
I'm
the eye
seeing
test.
When Bukayo Saka has the ball, the team is built around him, and they are able to create so many more chances when he has the ball at his feet
But I think
than
you can argue that with so many more players.
But I think Saka at a higher degree, just because of the variety of passes he has. People labeled him as a pace and power player at the start of his career because of how fast he was as a left back in the earliest stages. But what we've seen from him is he's really garnered the ability to cross the ball at an elite level, to play really good through balls, to just lead players into very good positions. I think as a creator, Bukayo Saka is he probably is the best creator in the Premier League. But back to
Yeah, I agree. I just want to say this to end it out, I'm not hating on Saka. I think he's a fantastic player and the best player on Arsenal. But I think when there's a comparison between what you saw and you talk about creating and chances and whatever, yes, you can have the impact, you can have the whatever. But you look at Salah last season, the assists he had, the number, and the amount of chances he created. I don't think Saka ever in his career has been on the same planet as Salah
That's
in terms
correct.
of that.
I agree.
That's correct.
Okay,
But
I'm
nobody,
glad that we're
but I
on the
don't think
same page with that.
anybody on the planet, with the exception of like, your
Arsenal
Messi,
fans.
Mbappe, Ronaldo,
No, no,
Haaland have ever
I'm
been on the
glad
level of what Salah did last season.
I'm glad we agree, but I think there is definitely an argument that's talked about where it's like, yeah, well, Saka's just as good, or Saka, I
Well,
think when people choose Saka over Salah, I think it's insane. Obviously, this season is different, but I think if we're looking at, and again, Saka's a lot longer to go in his Premier League career, but I think right now they're not even close. Like it's not even an argument that can even be thought about. I think Salah is out of this world better than Saka, has done more. And I think when people
yeah.
try to compare them in that aspect, especially in that whatever creation, blah, blah, aspect.
Well, if you're asking me to pick right now who I would want to start on Saturday, I'm taking Saka. But if you're
No, no,
asking me
yes,
at their
yes.
best who I'd want to take it, Saka's not even in the
Yes,
conversation. And
okay.
I agree
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
you.
no.
Okay.
When you look at
That's
the levels of Salah and Henry and
yes.
Hazard, like
Yeah.
those guys
Yeah.
are levels. Saka is what, 24 years
Saka's
old?
good.
But
Saka wants to get there. He's not there.
Yeah. Okay,
you
agreed.
cannot
I'm glad
expect him
I'm
to be in that conversation today.
yes, okay. I'm
In
glad we agree. I thought
5
there would be
years, you may start to elevate him. But no, Saka has never been at the level of
Yeah.
yeah,
Salah.
yes.
Uh, Tying back to whether or not I believe Arsenal will win the league. That's the overarching question. Charlie, you raised great points about the defense. This is no matter what you want to say about the effectiveness of Gyökeres or Odegaard or the attacking players that have not succeeded to the point that they should this season. The defense is going to be what holds them strong. And even if you have injuries to every player across the back line, you still have a top five defense in the league. The depth is so unbelievable. Declan Rice has not been brought up once yet in this entire Arsenal discussion. He's the second
He's
best
mid.
player on this team.
I don't know. I think he's the best.
I think he's physically the best player in the Premier League other than Holland. Just on a pure shape standpoint, how much he's able to run, how many tackles and duels he's able to win. He is immense, the most important player to this midfield. Zubamendi's been fantastic. Eze and Odegaard are good creators. I think the best
Odegaard is one of the most overrated players in the Premier
Okay,
League.
I don't have a
Yes,
problem with that. I
100%.
don't have a problem with that.
Eze was a better player when Arsenal signed him
Yes, I
than
agree.
Odegaard has
I,
ever
I,
been.
I agree. But back to the topic. The reason that I think Arsenal are going to win a league is that defense and that midfield and Saka. That is the most important part to this team. But I do think that the best version of this Arsenal team would come with an effective Victor Gyökeres. Will that happen? I don't know. But if Gyökeres is what we've seen him be able to do at Sporting Lisbon, I think is a non-translatable factor. I think he can do very good things at Arsenal. That is going to be what this Arsenal team needs to get over the line. I think they're going to win the league even if they go out and start Kai Havertz for the rest of the season because I think the defense is just that good. And as good as City are, they don't have the same depth as Arsenal. But I think the best version of the Arsenal team has a functioning Victor Gyökeres.
Yeah, and I think you have
Yeah,
to.
I'm not sure. I, I mean, yeah, functioning, 30 goal a season Victor Gyökeres is the best version of this team, but I think that Arsenal may stand a chance at winning the league without a functioning Victor
Yeah,
Gyökeres.
that's what
And
that's what I said. I
yeah,
agree.
no, totally. And I think that at the end of the day, this is probably going to come down to Pep and Arteta again.
Yeah.
Um, City's only 2 points off it. Even Villa's only 3 points, and then Chelsea is 8 points at this point. I would count anyone who's below Villa right now out of the title race for right now. Obviously, things can change quickly. We were talking about Chelsea in the title race just a couple weeks ago. But this will definitely come down to Arsenal and City right now. I would lean towards Arsenal for sure. This defense is just so strong. But the return leg of Arsenal City could potentially decide the Premier League title this year.
Yeah, I don't think the top two will change, but I think we could see a much different kind of three and below,
Yeah, I agree with
just
that.
because of how close it is. But yeah, I think we're coming to, especially with AFCON, I think there will be a lot more changes and result differences than what we're expected. But going from the top to the bottom, Wolverhampton Wanderers, something we don't talk about often is like the trash teams. Um, yeah, so no win yet, and I think if you look at every single like top flight team, or no, not top flight. Yeah. Is that the right? What's it? Top flight is the Prem. What's or no, no, top
Yeah.
flight is like yeah, okay, whatever. Every professional league, say I think Wolves may be the only team who haven't won a game yet
Uh,
in English.
Fiorentina through
No, yes,
15
yes. I'm
games.
saying in England.
Oh, and all of England's tier systems.
Not all, like the whatever. That's probably wrong, honestly, but whatever. Uh yeah, Fiorentina, I know that is a crazy one. But I mean, I will say this. I think Wolves are bad, and I think that they will get relegated, but I think we've seen worse. And that was something that was brought up is the Southampton teams. I think that's the Southampton or Sheffield teams of the past kind of 5 years, I think to me have been far and away the worst, relegation sides I've seen as a fan of the Premier League.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that you could argue that this team is one of the worst we've seen. Uh, and I think that there's one key reason for it, and it's just the player pool. They've lost so many key players over the last few seasons and have not replaced them whatsoever. I'll take you back to 2021-22. Wolves finished 10th in the Premier League and have been on a downward trend since 10th, 13th, 14th, 16th, and now 20th place this season. The summer of 23, they lose Ruben Neves, they lose Mateus Nunes, Nathan Collins, Connor Cody, Raul Jimenez, and Adama Traore. That's six starters from a season where they finished 13th place. They did not do well to replace them. The next summer, they lose Pedro Neto, Max Kilman, Daniel Podence, and Mario Lemina. Four more starters that were not replaced. And then this summer, they lose Cunha, Aït-Nouri, Semedo, and Sarabia. Four more starters from last season that haven't been replaced. Of course, they're going to get relegated. Of course, their team's not going to be as competitive. Over the last 3 seasons, they've lost at least 15 starters from the season prior.
God, it's funny listing that team would be a good team if they had kept
There
all
are a
those
bunch of good
players.
players there, and when you go
Yeah.
back, no wonder they finished really highly in 2022 in 10th place because they had a really solid foundation. That entire foundation is gone. Of course they're 20th place. Of course they haven't won a game. Look at their players. They are not very good.
Yeah, I want to say this first of all. Sam Johnson is one of the worst goalkeepers I've seen in it. Like he is absolutely terrible. I think uh, to me going to that Arsenal game that they lost, that corner you let in, I genuinely think that might be one of the first. And I was a keeper for a year. Like that's actually one of the first things you learn when you're a keeper is like how to defend corners and make sure that doesn't happen. And it's weird because we've seen it happen like three times this season. I think Newcastle did it. Like Guimaraes scored one, maybe only two, and then I know that Saka, or I guess it was an own goal by Johnson. But and just defensively, I don't understand why they still. It's really still is a back three. It's a team that I don't. There's no changes, and I don't. I'm kind of struggling for words just because defensively they are just terrible. Like it's awful. Like own goal. Like they lose to Arsenal off two own goals, which is just. And I will say the second one, the Gabriel Jesus, obviously no own goal is acceptable, but you can kind of see why that Jesus would have got the head on it, and again unlucky, but and the Johnson one I guess as well, but it's just a team that is atrocious, and you just don't see any hope of them winning a game, honestly.
This team made, I want to say, two signings this window that I thought were replacement level players coming into the league. Both of them have been terrible to this point. John Arias, who they signed,
Yeah.
one of the best players in the CONMEBOL like window of players. He has not succeeded. And then Ladislav Krejci, who's been good for Girona for a number of years, has been very poor. I think
And the striker they signed who scored against Arsenal, I forgot his name. Uh,
who scored the goal against Arsenal?
it was one of the strikers they signed.
Was it Ara Kadari?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. He just sucks. That's like
Yeah, he's just not good.
he's like
But
6'8". He's ginormous.
Yeah, Aro Kadari. Where did they sign? They signed him from like I don't even know. But yeah, he's not the option.
well, they have three strikers on this roster, all of who are just not the option. They have Sasha Kalajic,
He's
Jorgen
awful.
Strand Larson,
Well, I
and
actually think Jorgen Strand Larson is
Yeah,
not a bad player by any stretch. He
he's
just
not.
gets no service.
Yeah,
And he
but
doesn't he's not a striker who's going to create for himself, and the service has been so bad when you
Well,
look at
it's he had
the
Cunha
guys
last
playing
year.
on the wings. You've got like Matt Doherty playing on the wing.
reminder that Matt Doherty played for Atletico Madrid at one point.
No, Matt Doherty they
Reminder
play
that
at
Matt
center
Doherty
back.
hasn't been good in
I
at
know.
least 5 years.
They play him at center
They
back.
use him at center back. They have Wolf at left back often, who is not a Premier League quality player. Chachua they signed from Serie A, who was the fastest
Oh
player
yeah,
in
yeah.
the Big Five leagues last year, and he just doesn't he doesn't know how to kick a ball. He
That's
can
like a
run, but
it's
he's
like a
just not
FIFA
good.
signing. You know, it's like someone has so much pace, and then they're good because it's
99
FIFA.
pace, give it to him, but he's
Yeah.
not good enough to play right back in the Premier League. The only thing that may help them is I think Ja Gomez is a really good player in the
Yeah.
middle of the park, but
Yeah,
he cannot be the only good player on the field.
João Gomez is the only player in this lineup that I think should start for a
Yeah.
Premier League team. Maybe
Strand,
Manetzi if you put him in the right areas, but Strand Larson you could also argue. But
he's not
the
like
rest of this team is just
yeah. I think
the
a
rest of
lot of
this
teams
team
are
is
happy
just
they didn't spend 70 million on Strand Larson, but
yeah. The rest of this team is just brutal.
yeah,
You see even Andre, who I thought was going to be successful, has not been good
yeah.
to this
Strand
point.
Larson is such a Burnley striker.
He kind of is. But like I think this is a worse team than Southampton last year. I think I'm ready to say that given Southampton, I mean Southampton had more points than Wolves did at this point. Wolves have severe organizational dysfunction, whereas Southampton, you always knew that this just wasn't a team that was ready to play in the league. They at least had players that they were ready to sell, and they were going to build up from it. Dibbling went for about 45 million. This Wolves team has nothing. They're coached
And
by
then you
Rob
bring in Rob
Edwards.
Edwards and you hope for a new manager boost, and he's lost his first 5 games.
Rob Edwards got fired in the championship this year. Like this is not someone.
Jesus, I didn't even know that. That's insane.
This is not
You
someone
wonder what
that's
goes on. Like
like
why
Rob
that would
Edwards got hired because he had Luton finish in 18th, and
Okay,
that was
give him a
considered
little bit of
successful.
grace. The 5 games that he has coached have been against 5 very tough opponents in United, Arsenal, Palace, Villa, and Nottingham. That is
Sure,
5 tough opponents, but to come away with 0 points.
sure. Yeah, every team is going to be a tough opponent for Wolves at this point.
yeah,
Yes.
literally every team. It's
This is just a really brutal team. You've got Yerson Mosquera, who scored the last own goal. He wasn't even particularly good in MLS. He played for FC Cincinnati for a season and a half, or I think it was really just a season. And he was their second best center back. He wasn't good for them. He's not good here. I don't understand how he's a starter in the Premier League, but
And there's no way that Totti Gomez should be captaining a Premier League side because he
yeah.
is so bad on the ball that it's embarrassing to watch.
it's just
Yeah.
a really, really brutal team that is
Yeah.
going to go down. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And
Well, we
hey,
know when.
I would wonder whether or not they have the capability of coming back. Because
Mm.
that's how poor of a system that they've put in place where they've abandoned the Portuguese signings. They're just not I would venture to say that this will be their last time in the Premier League for a very long time.
Could be. Could be. We'll pivot MLS. Speaking of it, U.S. men's national team. Not really MLS anymore. Strides have been taken World Cup 26
And then
coming up.
Pochettino has reversed the clocks.
Yeah, somehow. This
Yeah.
is and Dylan, this was over the summer. One of our
Yeah.
episodes we talked about obviously just the dysfunction when none of the players wanted to play. But I want to pose a question. Let's predict the U.S. men's national team starting 11 for World Cup 26. Obviously, we're predicting it now, so we do still kind of have a couple months. But gentlemen, and I'll ask, I guess Dylan, I'll ask you first. I know you did want to talk about this. What would your starting 11 be for the U.S.?
So I'm going to first disclaimer, I am going to assume that Tyler Adams and Jedi Robinson are not going to be available for this tournament because I think that Tyler Adams just got ruled with a sprained MCL or a torn MCL. I don't think he'll be able to recover in time, and even if he does, I think there's enough center midfielders that could take that spot from him.
Jesus, he did. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and Jedi Robinson has been out the entire season. And I don't know when he's going to be back.
No, he will
So
be back. He will be back.
if he will be back, though, I'll put him. Okay, goalkeeper from my mortal enemies NYCFC, it is Matt Freese. He has earned that spot through his consistent play with the national team and being one of the best goalkeepers in MLS. I'm gonna go with a back three because Pochettino has done particularly well with back threes, and I think this suits the player base that they have. At right wing back, it's Serginho Dest. I don't like Serginho Dest. I'm going to just be very blatantly straightforward with that. I don't think he's a good player, but he's creative and he's exciting, and I think that he provides a spark that you don't need him to defend as much as a wingback. Center backs, Chris Richards is the fulcrum. Tim Ream is the left center back. Noah Kai Banks is the right center back. Not a great group. Let me be very straightforward with you. Not a great group. Tim Ream is about to be 40 years old.
I don't think there's a way we could start Tim Ream.
He's done his job as the captain of the national team every single time he's put the jersey on. I can't rightfully.
I don't think there's a way you can start Tim Ream.
I can't get rid of him.
Especially in a back three. I just think there's.
No, I think in a back three makes more sense considering Jedi Robinson's going to be the one next to him.
Yeah, but I think you look at the athleticism that we have with center backs. I just think I don't think you can start Ream. But
I'm going with Tim Ream because he hasn't put a foot wrong for the national team yet, and I think he would need to do so in order to get the spot taken from him. Also, considering the options against him are Carter Vickers, McKenzie, and Trusty, I'm not playing any of those guys. Left wing back is Jedi Robinson. He's the one to go with here. So now that leaves you with two midfielders and three forward players. The two midfielders I'm going to have Tanner Tessman and Weston McKennie. Tanner Tessman has been, I think, outside of Pulisic, the best player in Europe out of the national team players this season, and Richards. Richards has been great.
mm-hmm.
McKennie, I don't like Weston McKennie either, but he's stamped. He's gonna have the spot whether I like it or not. Up top, Christian Pulisic, who very much easy, no questions asked. Fuller and Balogun as the striker. He's been phenomenal for the U.S. in the last couple of games. And while I did prefer Pepe at one point, Balogun's proved me wrong in the last couple of weeks. And then the right winger is going to be Tim Weah, he's improved since being at Marseille. So that's the lineup I would go with.
Yeah. I mean, mine's pretty similar as far as these lineups are going to go. I've also got Freese in goal, and I've also opted for a back three here. I don't think we have the player pool to put out three center backs, to be totally honest. I'm worried about putting out two center backs, to be honest. However, I think that Pochettino, this is the way he likes to play. And the three center backs I'm going to go with are Chris Richards in the middle, Miles Robinson on one side, and Tim Ream on the other. I don't think Noah Kai Banks is ready to be a World Cup starter. I haven't watched him as much as you have. I know that. But I think Miles Robinson's been doing it for the USA for a few years now, and he had the gruesome injury as it seemed like he was getting a groove, which was really bad. But I'm gonna go back to him for this World Cup. My outside back's gonna be Anthony Robinson on the left. We're gonna assume he's healthy. On the right, I'm with you. I don't like Serginho Dest. I don't like Serginho Dest enough to give his spot to Alex Freeman because Alex Freeman is a better player.
You were brave enough to do what I wasn't brave enough to do, and
I just think in a back three system. I don't like Dest in a back four, but I think in a back three, Dest could be one of our biggest weapons.
Dest could absolutely be dangerous in a back three, but that's exactly where Alex Freeman could shine too. And
I
Alex
agree.
Freeman is far better of a goal scorer than Serginho Dest, and he's a better defender. So I'm going to take Alex Freeman in this. Yes. Will it probably be Serginho
Look at
Dest?
me.
Yes. Should
I'm
it
getting
be?
out
I don't
MLS.
think so. Right? Um, in the midfield, I'm going with two midfielders. Assuming Tyler Adams is healthy, I'm going to go with Tyler Adams. His
It
spot is
has to
nailed
be.
on.
You have to
If
play
he's
Tyler
not,
Adams.
If he is
it
healthy,
is Tanner
yes.
Tessman. If he is not healthy, 100%, I'm with you. Tanner Tessman's been fantastic this season. Uh, in front of him, or I guess next to him, will be Weston McKennie. Um, I worry in a two-man midfield with McKennie that he does not have the
Yeah,
fitness
that's
to
my
run for 90. But
But you don't have to have him run for 90. You can sub him out.
that's
Like,
okay. My front three, it's gonna be Pulisic on the left, gonna be Balogun up front. On the right, I'm gonna go to Malik Tillman.
yes, thank you.
I think that Tillman is right now a more creative and better player than Tim Weah. And in this system, it fits a lot better to have someone who's going to want to tuck inside. Let Alex Freeman run on the right, or let Anthony Robinson run on the left. If you want to play Pulisic off the right, that would be a mistake. Um, but I think that Tillman just gives you more freedom. And I think that Gio Reyna is another player who gives you that freedom.
get
By
him
no
away.
means should he be near this squad. However, as opposed to Weah, I think he just fits this system a little bit better because he can play more centrally and he can drift inside and create from there. If we're depending on Adams or Tessman or McKennie to, sit back a little bit more in a two-man midfield, I think that Malik Tillman just gives you the freedom to do that, and he is having a great season for Leverkusen, and he was great last season for PSV. Uh, I think this is a guy who has to be in the squad. Another honorable mention I'll throw out there is Sebastian Berhalter. Absolutely. Dylan, you and I talked about this earlier. This is a guy who will be on the plane. This is a guy who will probably come on in 70th minute of big games because his service is so phenomenal. Um, he led the Whitecaps to an MLS Cup final, and he on corners and free kicks, both shooting and crossing, and then just crosses in general, is the best player we have available. Sebastian Berhalter, do I think he could fit in this midfield potentially? Yeah. Um, does he have the intangibles, the ability to keep up with the pace of World Cup play? I think probably not. So that's why I think he's more of a last 20 minute sub for McKennie or Adams type of player.
So, a couple of things. And first of all, I love that I just got out MLS. That just makes me feel pride in my heart that I've spread the message enough. But Alex Freeman compared to Serginho Dest, no issues. No issues at all. The only thing is both of them are incisive attacking fullbacks. Both of them love to come inside, which is why I decided to play Tim Weah
But
instead
I
of Malik
think that
Tillman
that's
because
what I
I
love about Malik Tillman in that role is because then it's so versatile that you don't know what's going to happen.
okay,
And
that's a good
Freeman,
counter argument.
yes, loves to play the underlap. He really does. But I'm totally confident in Tillman's ability on the wing with an underlapping fullback, and then going the other way, I'm totally confident in Freeman's ability to overlap with Tillman inside. So I think that you can absolutely play it both ways. And yes, I wish we could swap the sides because Anthony Robinson likes to overlap more, and Alex Freeman and Serginho Dest like to underlap more, and then Pulisic's more of a touchline winger, and Tillman's more of a fluid, floating winger. So I'd love to flip the sides a little bit, but I actually think that Tillman and Freeman could make a really, really dangerous pairing on that right side for backlines.
They could, and I would not have an issue with that lineup if they went out and did it. I just think Weah gives you a little bit more in terms of running as well, where Tillman's a
He's a
creative
more
player.
clinical, yeah,
Weah's a very high work ethic player that I think could fit in very well.
for sure.
But I just want to shine a light on some of my MLS guys. I just want to take this time. Sebastian Berhalter, absolutely. Christian Roldan absolutely deserves to be on this
Jordan
plane.
Morris.
No. Christian Roldan deserves to be on this plane. I think you see guys, Miles Robinson had a pretty bad season this year. I don't think he's a particularly high value player in this pool. I think Tristan Blackman deserves to be on this plane. He had a bad final against Miami, but he is one of the best center backs in MLS. I wouldn't be upset if he started for this team. I think Max Arfston, people don't like him. He deserves
100%.
he deserves to be on the plane. Brian White deserves to be on the plane and in the conversation to play. I don't care too much for all the championship strikers, Haji Wright, Josh Sargent, Patrick Adjaman. Get out of here. I think Brian White deserves to be in that conversation.
Patrick Schulte should be on the plane.
Patrick Schulte, I don't know if should be on the plan.
I mean,
I
I think
think
it's either him or one of the other
Haji
keepers
Wright,
like
I
Chris
think.
Brady or,
I
someone
mean
else. But
it's between Stefan, Sean Johnson, who I actually don't hate the idea of bringing Sean Johnson, but yes, to Kian, yes, Haji Wright is better than the group of championship strikers. I
Yeah, and I agree with you guys, and that's generally the lineup that I would go with, but I'm gonna put out one just because we've kind of been a little redundant that I think could work. Um, I think we will go with a back three because I think we'll see 70% of World Cup teams playing back threes this summer. I think it's a formation that teams have going to just with the increased athleticism in players. I like Matt Turner in goal. I like the consistency. I like the fact he's played a World Cup. I like Matt Turner. I think he's a good goalkeeper. Do I think Freeze will probably start? Yes, but I would go Matt Turner. I definitely think Chris Richards probably on one of the sides because of how athletic he is. And then I would as well goes Milo Robinson, and I would go Carter Vickers. But I do think that Ream will probably start. I just can't justify starting a 4-year-old in a World Cup in a back
I just
three.
think that, I mean, Carter Vickers is a guy who's had his name like floated around the
Like for
USMNT
so
for the
long.
last 5 to 8
Yeah.
years, probably. But he is just not athletic enough and not fast enough to start at the World Cup, I don't think. Uh, I, I, he's been at the same level for the last
Yeah,
5 years.
I'm not disagreeing with you. And again, Carter Vickers not a guy I'm watching every week, but I think if we go with a back three, my one thing is I don't think Tim Ream can start. I think you need back threes that are athletic, and I think when I look at back threes and I look at like the back three to look at, I look at Crystal Palace and you look at the athleticism they have in that back three, and obviously we're not gonna be able to mirror that. Luckily, we do have one of those three.
Gosh, yeah, the worst
Yeah,
one.
but I do not think that Tim Ream can start. But that being said, I will go 3 4. I'm not going with I'm going with a 10 and two strikers. So just so you guys can
A 10
Interesting.
and two
yeah, a
strikers. Okay.
10 and two strikers. So I think the two in midfield, I think Adams hopefully will be back. I think Tyler Adams needs to start. I think Tyler Adams is our best player when he's healthy. I guess Pulisic, but either or.
1A and
Um,
1B.
yeah. I don't like McKennie. I'd love to see Tessman start over McKennie. I don't think McKennie deserves. I don't think he's shown enough to be a starter. I think he will start, and that's who I'm going to put there. But I think Tessman, more of a defensive player, I'd like to see, especially if we do two. Um, but then again, with Tyler Adams as well, kind of more of a defensive-ish player, McKennie having the ability to go forward. But with having a 10, I'd like to see Tessman potentially starting, but I will go McKennie, Tyler Adams. Um, I'd like to see Weah in the right wing back spot.
Okay,
And then as
I like that.
well,
I
I would
like
like
that.
to see Anthony Robinson. I think Anthony Robinson, when he's healthy, is a top three left back in the world. I think Anthony Robinson is fantastic,
Whoa,
especially probably not anymore, but 2 seasons ago, I think Anthony Robinson was absolutely
he
unreal.
was very good. Yeah.
And especially not having to be held as a left back in the back four. I think Anthony Robinson will be fantastic. I think Tillman needs to start. I think Tillman needs to start at the 10. He's having a good season at Leverkusen. I like Tillman a lot. And I would go a front two of Balogun and Haji Wright.
So Pulisic's not in the lineup.
Oh, wait, I forgot about Pulisic. Oh my God, wait, how did I forget about Pulisic?
That,
Yeah,
that
that's
like
absurd, bro. That's
I
like the
think.
Wait,
first
no,
name on the team
obviously,
sheet.
obviously Pulisic is starting. I just ran out of, so maybe the Cam.
Yeah,
Okay, wait, maybe two strikers can't work then. Okay, yeah, I mean
that's why structurally I disagree with
yeah,
the
no, no,
formation.
yeah, never mind.
I like the idea, but I
Yeah,
just think
And I like Haji Wright's versatility as well. We
yeah,
see him play for Coventry. He can play up front. He can play on the left. He can play on the
yeah.
right. And
How did
he's
I
a
forget
pretty
about Pulisic?
natural
Wow,
goal
that's bad.
scorer across the front three. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is getting minutes at the World Cup. But I think that Balogun's the more complete
No,
strike for
Balogun will
now.
start. Yeah, wait, I forgot about that because I mean Pulisic you can't really put in the front two. Um,
Could. It just
you
wouldn't be
could,
like
it
yeah. I
wouldn't
don't
be
utilizing
the
him
think.
best
totally
usage
up.
of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it just I think
He'd play
Tillman.
well.
I want Tillman to be the middle of that attacking, kind of behind the striker, because I think when you look at the 3-4-2-1, it inverts the players more where Pulisic goes out, but obviously it
I mean, I
saying it
don't
is
think that wouldn't work for
no, it
Pulisic though,
will.
because he
Yeah, no, it won't.
absolutely
No,
can.
it won't. It won't. Also, he will be wide. Like you can have him playing more wide and Tillman comes in, and then you obviously have so I guess I'll adjust that. So whatever, same back three, same midfield. I would still go Weah. I would still go Anthony Robinson, and then I would go Pulisic, Tillman, Balogun.
So in possession, you're probably looking at more of a four back with Weah up the right and Pulisic up the left to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, that's more of attacking with Weah there, so I think Dest should start, and I think Dest deserves to, and I think at his peak, Dest could be fantastic if he's not held to a back four right back. I think Dest could be an absolute weapon for us, and he's having a good season. Um, so that's what I would go with, but we'll move on now as it is starting to lash rain outside, Charlie. I
Yeah,
don't know if you're
seriously.
hearing
No, I,
this.
I am hearing this now, yeah.
Um,
I'm in a different town than them.
wow. Um, we'll move on. And we're going to do a new segment, and that's how many players can you name that are better than blank? And I know you two have a player. I want to ask this first because this was a conversation that sparked some debate in our group chat earlier this week. How many players can you guys name that are currently better than Dominic Szoboszlai
In the world or
in
midfielders?
the world?
At
In the
No,
world.
at his
midfielders,
position?
midfielders.
Midfielders.
Yeah,
At
but
their
just
position.
midfielders.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a 10,
No, just he plays. You can just do midfielders. Don't
Midfielders.
don't
Okay.
go like very deep sixes, but like eights, tens. I mean, he's everywhere. So you can,
I'm thinking
Okay.
I'm
Wait,
thinking
do you
eight
know the
players.
structure of this game?
yeah, you just each
Yeah,
go
we
back and
like
forth until
Uh,
whoever.
yeah.
all
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
so I can
You
name
can
one player better than Szoboszlai.
Okay.
Okay. I could name 4 midfielders better than Szoboszlai.
I could do five.
Okay.
I could do 6.
I think I can do I can do seven.
I'll stop you there.
Okay,
All
Charlie.
right.
Here we go. 7.
All right, we're looking at eights and tens.
Yep.
We'll start with Pedri,
Yes.
Vitinha,
Yes.
Cole Palmer,
No.
I'll give you the benefit there. I'll say yes.
Cole Palmer, Frankie De Jong.
No.
I disagree, but I'll give you the benefit there 'cause
Let's
it's close.
let's just before this, Dylan, and I know. Let's think about what Szoboszlai has done this season.
Yes.
Like, let's keep that in mind. I think he's been better than Pedri. I'll say that as well.
No.
I think so. I've said this. I think Szoboszlai has been the best midfielder in the world this season. When you look at
He's been
context of
incredible,
his team,
but he has
but
not
sorry,
been
Charlie,
better
I'll
than Pedri.
keep going. Charlie, so
That's all right.
that's 4, Charlie.
That's four.
Yes. Okay.
Then I'll go to Bellingham.
No.
Yes.
Is five.
Bellingham is
Bellingham's
better
having
than
a bad
Szoboszlai.
season. Bellingham.
He's having a worse. He's having
But
a
that's what
worse
I'm
season, not a
asking
bad
now.
season.
I'm asking now. I think
Right, but I'd
Szoboszlai.
still, if I'm picking a team for
st-
tomorrow, I'm still
I'm
taking
still
Bellingham.
taking Jude.
I would. Okay.
Declan Rice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's six.
Yep.
I won't say Caicedo because he is too deep
He's too deep.
lying.
Yeah.
You could.
Same
You
with
could.
same with. Well, if I could say Caicedo, then Caicedo is better.
But
I
I don't
was-
think
I
you
was-
can.
I
I don't
don't
think
think-
it's. I don't
Okay.
think you could fairly have
But I
Caicedo and
that's
Cole
why I
Palmer in the same
keep
like.
Caicedo out.
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
Um,
I would think Caicedo is more valid than Palmer is.
I don't think so because of the positional difference.
Okay, I mean,
do
it's
think
your
Caicedo's
list.
having
Okay.
a better season,
Okay.
but
Okay.
and then I can throw a couple names out here.
Which
I
that's
don't know
6,
which
right?
ones you guys
He's
will
at 6,
agree with
yes.
versus not agree with. Bruno Fernandes is having an incredible
No.
season.
I don't think so.
Maybe not as good as Szoboszlai. He's having a great season, and Dylan's gone.
Dylan's gone. Well, let's just we'll keep going.
Um, eh, maybe João Neves is slightly too deep lying,
No,
but
I think he's
would still
valid,
take
but
João Neves.
I think that's valid. I would.
And that might be all I can do. Maybe Valverde, depending on what, you're looking at, because Valverde's been great. Again, maybe Scott McTominay, because Scott McTominay's just been so good
Yeah, but
for Napoli.
he's not even like a. Yeah.
But
Okay.
he just kind of plays all of them. He's a bit
Yeah.
like Szoboszlai. He plays 6, 8, 10. Like he kind of does it all.
I will.
Um,
Yeah, I will
So
say
I think
this.
that's where I go. But Szoboszlai is 100% in my top 10.
Yeah. I think yes. I think all of those players are valid. I don't think any of those are outrageous. So I would see. I do think it's obviously very much dependent on obviously Liverpool fans and people who watch versus. I think Liverpool fans. This might be the most biased thing they have an opinion on is how good he's been, especially just what we've seen this season.
How many strikers can you guys name that are better than Julian Alvarez?
That's a good one.
Oh, okay. I was gonna go for a striker too, but yeah, I'll keep thinking then.
Go ahead, Charlie.
I can name 3 strikers better than Julian Alvarez.
I think I can name 5.
I can do 7.
I think I could do 8.
I'll let you go ahead and do 8.
Okay, I'm probably not. Oh, fuck. Okay. Okay.
No,
Holland.
I think this is right around where he lies. So I think this is a good
Okay.
one.
But it's my because I'm gonna forget about someone. Holland.
Yeah.
I think Ekatike's been better, and I know that's gonna already cause.
No,
I
Um,
mean, that's I would not go there.
um.
can't give that one.
I'm not giving that one.
I could
That's
even maybe give. No, actually, never mind.
Okay, Holland, Ekatike,
No,
Lautaro.
I can give
okay.
Lautaro.
Yeah.
Um, I have to jog my memory. Um, Mbappe.
Yep.
What am I at 4?
Four.
Mbappe. 'Cause
Oh,
I'm trying to think,
three correct ones. We're not giving you Ekatike. He's
but
not there.
I'm naming them. I'm
Okay,
just so
okay,
it's we're at
okay.
4. I'm trying to think of the other leagues.
We are at
Uh,
3.
Um, see, I know I'm missing someone. La Liga. Because I mean Lewandowski, no.
I would give Lewandowski over Ekatike,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll go Lewandowski.
Well, I wouldn't give him over Julian
I wouldn't
Alvarez.
give him over Julian Alvarez. But I think eight is too many
Yeah,
for the
wait, yeah.
record.
Okay, so
Like,
maybe I thought I could name way more. I'm trying to think of
I mean, I have two at the top of my mind right now, but other than that,
well,
it's
yeah,
kind of
but
like
I'm trying to think of no teams have strikers anymore. Like I'm trying to think of uh like I'm thinking in La Liga, you think look at the top 3 teams, no. I guess in the Prem, like obviously Holland, Arsenal, no. Um
Well, I
Villa,
think. Well, who have
no.
we gotten so far?
So we've got
Holland.
obviously Holland, Lautaro, Mbappe, um Ekatike just 4. Like that's just you
We
guys
can
would agree, but
100% go to Harry Kane.
yeah, Harry Kane, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I knew I wasn't thinking about Harry Kane. Um,
I have one more that I would go. After that, I wouldn't.
Well, you can go to Ozyman.
That's the one more.
yeah.
Two more, two more, two more.
And there's a player that I you could make a case for, but right now is a no, and that's Alexander Isak.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
like you
then
could make a
I
case
would say
for.
yeah. See, that's what I'm because that's what I'm saying. If yeah, I would go Isak. Yes, Isak.
and
That's
then there's
6.
there's also the unknown. I mean, Ousmane Dembele played striker last year.
Did
Yeah,
You could make that
been
argument.
injured. Dembele.
you could make that argument?
Okay, so
Who
let's
else could you?
let's just relist that for the okay. So Holland, Ekitike, you guys don't agree with. Isak, Dembele, Kane, Osimhen,
Mbappe.
Lautaro, Mbappe. That's 8.
I don't agree with two of those.
Lewandowski 9. Lewandowski 9.
I also don't agree with Lewandowski. I think Julian Alvarez is better than those guys, but sure.
And Charlie, were there any other names you had, or are those the ones?
Sehu Girassi was the only other
Yes,
name in my
that's what
head.
I was gonna say.
That's
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say Gesson, but that's not the right player. Yes, Garassi. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Okay, so we'll say okay. All right, yeah. Okay.
wow. Could I give you anybody else? I mean, I think I don't know that I could do
for
anybody
I would
else. I
still go around.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could maybe make an argument. No, I don't think. I think Julian Alvarez fits very comfortably inside the top 7.
Yeah. 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 All right, Charlie.
All right. My player. We kind of need Dylan for this one. You ready? So, how many players can you guys name? How many right wingers can you guys name that are better right now than Michael Elise?
Ooh.
Oh,
Uh.
no, you can't.
Okay. I can name one.
I could name three.
Are you? If I go higher than how? I can name 4. You can name 5, Dylan.
For the video.
Dylan, if you think you can
I
name
I
4, I'll
could
let you take it.
I can name five.
Okay. I don't think I can, so go ahead.
I don't know if I can.
You
I don't know
can't.
if
Elise is the second best right winger
Okay.
in the
All
world.
right.
okay. Lamine Jamal,
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
give you one.
Mohamed Salah.
No.
Yeah. Yes. I love it.
I think I could still say
You
Mohamed
I
pick
think
Salah.
for
you can
this
still
weekend.
say
Who are
it.
you picking?
I'm picking for this weekend. I'm picking Michael Olise, but I think I could still argue that
Yeah,
Mohamed
well,
Salah is a
okay.
better player.
Okay, we'll
Okay.
let you argue it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm taking Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
that one's a close one.
This might be considered not fair. I'm taking Lionel Messi.
That's totally not fair. No, no.
Okay. I have a name in my head.
He's a
I,
he's a striker
No,
who
that's
doesn't run anymore.
that's where I'm taking him as a player, but I'm not. I don't know if he counts as a right winger.
Are we I might take Foden. If you
No.
count him on the
No,
right.
I'm not taking Foden. No,
Even counting him on the wing, I wouldn't take Foden.
I cannot name five right wingers better than Michael Olise.
Because I think there are
Like
only one or two, and
it's Saka and
that's
Yamal.
Yamal and Saka.
Saka and Yamal.
And
But
I don't know if I would take Saka or Elise right now.
I might take Rafinha.
I'm not
Well,
taking Rafinha.
Rafinha
But
plays on
he's
the
also
left,
on the
too.
left.
Is he on the
Yeah.
left? Yeah.
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 Yeah,
I guess, but wingers
Elise,
in general, though, like wingers in general,
but
it
even
doesn't really
wingers in
change
general, you
much.
only
Yeah.
add in one or two more guys. This is the top of the game.
I mean,
Bless you.
Diaz is having a not. I
Diaz
guess
is
not.
No,
not
no
not
better
better
than
than
Elise,
Elise.
though.
But if you want to do
Elise
dual
this
wingers in
season
general,
has
though,
fully stamped his mark on
Yeah.
world football.
yeah.
He is one of the best players in the
I
world
mean,
right now.
Dylan, I don't think wingers really changes it.
I mean, you get Vinicius in there.
Oh
You
yeah,
you
Mbappe. I
get
guess Mbappe not really. No.
You get Rafinha as an argument in there as
Mm.
well.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not that much changes.
Kavicha is an argument.
Yeah. I
Kavicha,
would take. I would.
I would take Olise over
Esteval.
Kavicha.
I might take Due. Healthy Due.
Nah,
Nah.
he just hasn't been healthy enough,
Oh
and
my God,
he's
he
also
And
is
he's not as good as
electrifying.
Elise.
he's so good, but
He
he's
is
not.
great, but Elise
electrifying.
That
is.
brings up a good question though. How are France going to play at the World Cup with this many attacking options?
To be truthfully honest with you, I have no idea.
Yeah. I
You
don't
have
know.
Mbappe,
has to start.
Mbappe and
Dembele
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 will
has to
feature.
start. Yeah.
Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, Due, Barcola, Ekitike.
I
All
think
have
it.
to fit into
I don't.
four spots.
I think it has to be Elise, Mbappe, Dembele.
Yeah, and I think for me, without a doubt, you're gonna go to Dembele up front and Mbappe off the left
I would agree.
because that's just where Dembele has been playing recently, and that's how he's been so good.
And I think
Mbappe
Mbappe is a
for
better winger.
France has been
Yeah.
brilliant on the left. Uh, and then I mean, even at 10, you could play Michael Elise as the 10.
Yeah. You
You
could.
could.
And you wouldn't have any problems with that. You can fit Doué in on the right. You can fit Barcola in on the right.
I don't think
Uh,
Barcola has much of a. I like Barcola,
I
but
absolutely think he does. He's so dynamic when he gets on the field.
Yeah.
And I think he's
He's
more
a
of your
super sub,
60th
though.
to 70th minute
He's
super
a-
sub.
he's a super
But then
sub.
you can factor in Marcus Thuram, Randall Kolomuani.
yeah. And
These are Hugo Ekitike as well. These are all guys who Antoine Griezmann still. These are all guys who could tell you they have a shout to be in this France team. They won't all make it,
Yeah.
let alone start. They won't even all be there.
I think those. I think Ekitike, Thuram, Griezmann. I think will all make the team.
I just think you have so many options and so many, there are limits to how many strikers and forwards you can
Yeah,
take.
you can take just because you're
Um,
not subbing it. Yeah.
They have a very stacked
Yeah.
forward room.
If
Yeah.
you venture back to the midfield, do you even replace Conte? I don't think you can.
No, Conte is
I don't think.
100%
I think
their
Conte
six.
still starts.
You
But that
still go
midfield
to
room
Conte.
has Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Conte, Thuram. That's Kepa and Thuram.
Yeah.
Well, I think your
Kone?
midfield is probably gonna be Conte Tchouaméni, if I had to guess, because
Yeah.
Tchouaméni's looked really good this season.
Tchouaméni's
Kepa and
looked-
Thuram has made
And
an
that
argument.
gives Conte the freedom to move forward. And if you play Conte and Tchouaméni, you can absolutely play
Play
Elise
Elise
as your
at the
10.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
Because
leaves out
that's-
so many good midfielders, though. I mean,
Of course.
Claudio Kone, or Manu Kone, has
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
unbelievable to this point this year. Kepa and Thuram is just as good as
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
You've got Boubacar Kamara as well.
Boubacar Kamara is another one who, I mean,
Maybe he's your starting six. Like,
there's so many options. And then you even travel back to the defense. You have Upamecano has been
Upamecano's having a
arguably
great
the best
season.
center back in the world this season. And then you have
Saliba.
Saliba. And
Yeah.
then you have Jules Koundé on the right. Left
Yeah.
back is still Teo Hernandez.
You've still got
which-
Pavard.
You still have Pavard as an option.
You-
But
Konate will probably make it.
You have
Konate will make the
Camavinga, who
team.
can double as an outside back.
And then in goal, you have to decide between Magnan and Chevalier. I have
Ew.
no. I have,
Oh yeah, I forgot about Chevalier. I think
Chevalier
it's
has
my.
been very
I
good.
think
I
this
have
it's
season.
I have no
Magnan.
preference. Either
I
one
like
works. But
Magnan.
Yeah. I mean, it's a
That's the favorite to win the World Cup, no matter what way you
You
slice
got
it.
Spain there too, though.
I don't.
Spain has the
I
options
like
too, but
Argentina
France's
again.
roster is just so
Argentina's just a
strong.
little bit
Wow.
older though.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if
yeah,
they could hold up. Like,
Well, you got guys like Mastantuono who could make a big impact at the
yeah.
World Cup. Echeverri from
it's
City.
still going to be reliant on Messi, who's still I still stand on it. Messi's a top 10 player in the world
But you've
today.
still got a
I don't
front
care.
line of
But
Messi, Lautaro, and Alvarez.
and then you have Nico Pass as well.
You
Yeah.
have, oh my God, you have Nico Paz. You have Nico
It's just
Gonzalez has been playing well for City. You still have
he
DePaul.
the issue is the midfield though. Gonzalez, I don't even know if he's declared for Argentina. He might be declared for Spain.
Really?
But
No, no,
No, that would be a mistake.
their midfield is fantastic.
yeah,
McAllister, Enzo.
It's
You have McAllister.
McAllister and Enzo, but DePaul is not a player anymore. He'll
Yeah,
make
he
the
might
team.
not be.
He'll make the team because
Yeah,
he's
but I
Messi's
don't think
friend.
that midfield's a weakness. When you look at McAllister, Enzo, Nico
Yeah,
Paz, that's
but
a
I
really
mean,
strong
yeah,
midfield.
it is. It is, but it doesn't have the same
I don't think
bruiser that
Nico
it
Pass
did.
will start.
He should.
He should.
He
He's one
should.
of the best players in the world right now. He's another player that I think you could put up there with Soboslai. I didn't bring it up earlier, who I think absolutely could be up there in that conversation.
The issue actually, I said the issue is the midfield. The issue is the fullbacks. It's still Nahuel
Yeah,
Molina and Nicolas Tagliafico that
yeah,
cannot slide. Like,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
I mean, Spain's another one though.
yeah.
That's
They're gonna be great.
But Spain, I think then you're looking at a weakness potentially at center back because Pau Cubarsí
it's
is
a
not.
it's a B plus center back room in a team of A players, and
Yeah,
I think that's acceptable.
Yeah,
Like,
but yeah, you look at the dynamic attack that they'll have with Yamal and Nico Williams and potentially Samu up front.
I think up front's gonna be Marino.
Eh, You could put Marino up there. You could put Samu up there. You can go to um was literally just on the tip of my tongue and now
Ferran
leaves my head. Yeah.
Torres or
yeah.
I
Yarzabal.
mean, you can
Like,
go to Ferran Torres. It feels like a mistake,
Morata always makes it.
but of course, their strength
he
is the
will not this
midfield with
time.
Pedri, with Gavi, with Zubamendi, with it's just
Rodri,
Rodri, Marino.
Olmo.
Still, it's such a good midfield that they'll
Yeah,
be competitive as well. Germany's squad looks dangerous.
Kai Wagner
Um,
should start for Germany. Open the vault. Kai Wagner, Philadelphia Union left back, should start for Germany. David Raum has not been good this season. Max Mittelstadt is not a particularly good left back. Kai Wagner led the league in chances created from left back, other outside of Messi, but he's an anomaly on his own.
But
But
yeah.
no,
He
it's not
is.
crazy to say that Kai Wagner should absolutely be in the conversation. And then England, of course, is still a powerhouse, and
Yeah,
Brazil will be a powerhouse with
yeah.
Ancelotti.
Go World
I
Cup.
need to go predict
Netherlands
all the starting
always.
lineups and simulate some
The
World Cups.
Netherlands are going to be good. The
They
Netherlands
always are.
they're going to, but their midfield of Gravenberch, De Jong, and
Yeah,
Renders this year
yeah. It's
is
unreal.
really filthy.
Yeah,
And you still have guys like Koop Miners
yeah,
and who's always shown out for the Netherlands. I mean,
yeah. It's gonna
And
be a
then
good World Cup. Very
Van Dijk
excited.
and Van de Ven as well at the
Yeah,
back.
Van de
yeah.
Ven is not reliable. I'll throw that out there.
That's for another time.
Well, thank you all for watching, listening. Another episode, longer one. As always, follow us on social media, subscribe to the channel. More episodes to come in the winter season. It's the season of giving, and we generally tend to do so as we have less responsibilities. But thank you as always, Kia McDermott, Charlie Nadell, Dylan Shalom, the Back Pocket, episode 39. We'll see you for episode 40. Let us know what you think down below, and we'll see you next time.